Hey YouTube, I'm back. It cut off at 15 minutes, of course. I'm using the screencast, Amatic. I guess that's the name of it. And I'm also twisting my hair and don't look at my chubby arms, okay? Anyway, we just saw what the Beaver Wars were. The Beaver Wars, also known as the Cherokee Wars or the French and Cherokee Wars, encompasses a series of conflicts fought in the mid-17th century in eastern North America. During the 17th century, the Beaver Wars was a battle for economic welfare throughout the Saint. Now, these are the Tuscarora Wars. Now, this is except for some trading contact, the Cherokee remained relatively unaffected by the presence of European. One moment. The Cherokee remained relatively unaffected by the presence of European colonists in North America until the Tuscarora War and its aftermath. In 1711, the Tuscarora began attacking colonists in North Carolina after diplomatic attempts to address various grievances failed. Now, the governor of North Carolina asked South Carolina for military aid before the war was over. Several years later, South Carolina had mustered and sent two armies against the Tuscarora. The ranks of both armies were made up of mostly Indians, with Namassee troops especially. Now the Tuscarora Tuscarora. Now the Tuscarora people were hemp gatherers or shirt wearing people. And this is bothering me. And they were shirt wearing people. They were a Native American tribe and the First Nations band government of the Iroquoian language family, with members today in North Carolina, New York, and Canada. They coalesced as a people around the Great Lakes, likely about the same time as the rise of the five nations of the historic Cherokee Confederacy, also Iroquoian speaking and based then in present day New York. Now, we heard the guy on King Drops and Francisco, their videos, the Turtle Gang guy, and he was saying about the hemp. That's what he was saying out of Francisco when he highlighted that. It said that they had millions of uses for hemp. And y'all can look at my arms. I don't care. I just lost 100 pounds and I feel awesome. And everybody knows when you lose weight, there's extra skin. So I'm not going to get surgery. My doctor said if I keep drinking a whole lot of water, it'll take a year and it'll absorb back to itself, and I trust that. But I'm just giving y'all an explanation why I'm just free in my skin. I really, that's the last thing on my mind, right? Okay, so the governor of North Carolina asked South Carolina for military aid before the war was over. Several years later, South Carolina had mustered and sent two armies against the Tuscarora. The ranks of both armies were made up of mostly Indians with Yamasee. Like I said, I like this because you can just hover over. And the Yamasee were a multi-ethnic confederation with Native Americans who live in the coastal region of present-day northern coastal Georgia, near the Savannah River, and later in northeastern Florida. Now, the first army under the command of John Barnwell, and we'll look at who he is. John Barnwell, 1671 to 1724, immigrated, and there's that E. You see, it used to be spelled with the E. Immigrated to the province of South Carolina in 1701. He led an army against the Tuscarora in 1711 and through 1712. So he's an invader that warred against the indigenous people. Now, by the end of the year, a fragile peace had been established and the army dispersed. No Cherokee were involved in the first army. Hostilities between the Tuscarora and North Carolina broke out soon after. I mean, how can you come into somebody else's space and go to war with them? That's why you have to be careful of the company you keep too, because you'll be out friendly. I'm glad I'm going back through these. I missed a couple of them when I was tightening them up. But people will come in and you'll be trying to be peaceable, and they'll go to war with you. Now, in late 1712 to early 1713, a second army from South Carolina fought the Tuscarora. This army consists of about 100 British and over 700 native soldiers. As with the first army, the second depended heavily on the Yamasee and the Catawba. This time, however, hundreds of Cherokee also joined the army. The army's campaign ended after a major Tuscarora defeat at Hancock's Fort. All told, over 1,000 Tuscarora and allied Indians were killed or captured. Those captured were mainly sold into the Indian slave trade, although the second army from South Carolina disbanded soon after the battle. The Tuscarora War continued for several years. Some previously neutral Tuscarora turned hostile, and the we spoke Cherokee, so this is Cherokee Confederacy entered the dispute. In the end, a large number of Tuscarora moved north to live among the Cherokee. Now, the Tuscarora War altered the geopolitical context of the colonial America in several ways, including an increased Cherokee interest in the South Carolina, in the South, for the many southeastern natives involved. It was the first time so many had collaborated in a military campaign. It was the first time they saw how different the various English colonies were. As a result, the war helped to bind the Indians of the entire region together and enhance Indian networks of communication and trade. The Cherokee became much more closely integrated with the region's various Indians and Europeans. The Tuscarora War marked the beginning of an English-Cherokee relationship that, despite breaking down on occasion, remained strong for much of the 18th century. Now, as I said in my blog earlier, divided we shall fall. Once they started coming together, let's read over that again. As a result, the war helped to bind the Indians of the entire region together. It enhanced Indian networks of communication and trade. The Cherokee became much more closely integrated with the region's various Indians and Europeans. The Tuscarora War marked the beginning of an English-Cherokee relationship that, despite breaking down on occasion, remained strong for for much of the 18th century. Divided we fall. Divided we fall. Okay. Just had to get that out. Oh, and I'm not going to jip you. We saw who John was. The Catawba, also known as Issa or Iswa, but mostly commonly Iswa, Catawba, Iwisa, Iswa, Catawba, Iswa, people of the river, are a federally recognized tribe of the Native Americans known as the Catawba Indian Nation. They live in the southeastern United States along the border of North Carolina near the city of Rock Hill, South Carolina. Okay. And then slavery among the indigenous peoples of Americas. Looky. Slavery among the indigenous people of the Americas took many forms throughout North and South America. Slavery was a common institution among various pre-Columbian indigenous people of the Americas. However, chattel slavery was introduced only after European and African contact. Woo! Somebody just brought that up. Who was I listening to this morning? That was Lex. Was it Lex? Chattel slavery? Yep, it was. He was bringing up chattel slavery. This stuff keeps repeating itself, y'all. Okay. And if it wasn't Lex and it was somebody else, y'all forgive me. But when I woke up this morning, I think it was him. Because I went over some videos that I had not seen. And I think he did bring up chattel slavery. And if not this morning, he brought it up. All these words keep coming back. So anyway. Where are we? The Tuscarora. Okay. Destruction of Chicasaw. I'm going to stop right there where I was. One moment. And one last thing, I wanted to look at the Cherokees. They're also the Haudenosaunee. They're a historically powerful and important Northeast Native American confederacy. They were known during the colonial years to the French as the Cherokee League and later as the Cherokee Confederacy, and to the English as the Five Nations before 1722, and later as the Six Nations, comprising of the Mohawk, the Onondaga, Oneida, Cayuga, Seneca, and Tuscarora peoples. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go into the destruction of the Chicasaw. The Tuscarora War also marked the rise of the Cherokee military power. Demonstrated in the 1714 attack, destruction of Yuckee, town of Cherokee in today's Bradley County, Tennessee. The English traders Alexander Long and Eleazar Wiggin instigated the attack through various deceptions and promises, although there had been pre-existing conflict between Cherokee and Yuckee. The traders' plot was based in the Cherokee town of Euface, Great Hawassi, and it mainly involved Cherokee from that town. So I'm going to just hover over these until the video runs out. The Yuckee, also spelled Uchi. I wonder, is this related to Geechee, Uchi, and are people of Native American tribe who traditionally lived in eastern Tennessee, River Valley in Tennessee in the 16th century. The Yushi or Yushi were well-known mound builders. And Bradley County is located in the U.S. state of Tennessee. As 2010 census, the population was 98,963. The Great Hawassi, UYC, was an